Let's Reads. So in today's video, we're actually going to do books from the 80s. Now, we did books from the 90s, and that one was just so much fun. Now, if I'm being honest, this one was a tiny bit difficult because, like I said before in the video about the books from the 90s, there was a resurgence of Black books, especially by Black women, where really in the 80s it was like basically two Black women that dominated, when it came to, Black literature. And yeah, so it was, like I said, it was kind of difficult, but I did pick some, obviously I want to do like some popular ones, and then of course ones that are not popular. You guys know I classify them as unsung. So yeah, let's just get started. So the ones that are popular, we're going to get those two out. Okay. So the first one, of course, is Toni Morrison, Beloved. Now, this came out in 1987. She won a Pulitzer Prize for this book. And, I mean, everybody knows about Beloved. Basically, it's about a woman that is set in the Civil War era, a woman that, kills her child to protect her from slavery. The girl ends up, like, coming back to life as a ghost, and you just see everything that goes on. But yeah, although it's not my favorite, you still can't deny that this is a classic. I mean, come on now. Next, of course, The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This book came out in 1982. I mean, again, it's like when you say Toni Morrison, when you say The Color Purple, Alice Walker, you already know. You already know what it is. So, I mean, silly. Look, we already know what Color Purple's about, okay? Yeah. All right. Now let's get to some that are not really just like well-known, like The Color Purple and Beloved. Okay. So next is The Women of Brewster's Place by Gloria Naylor. Now I became introduced to this. Well, first, this was published in 1982. Now, like I was saying, I became introduced to this book actually by the miniseries. It actually was, when was that miniseries? I think 89 that miniseries came out. And I remember it used to always come on TV. And I mean, that cast is amazing. You have Oprah Winfrey playing the main character, Maddie Michael. Who else? You have Robin Givens, you have Jack Gay, you have Lynn Whitfield, you have Cicely Tyson, Paula Kelly, Lynette McKee. I mean, so many. But this book, it talks about, it's like short stories. Every woman that has come to Brewster's Place, they come with some baggage. There's a reason why they came to Brewster's Place. I mean, and it does read like short stories. This book deals with domestic abuse. It deals with homosexuality. It deals with rape. It deals with poverty. What else? I think that's like the main themes. I know it sounds really bad, but when you read it, although it's difficult, but it's still such a great story. Gloria Naylor was an amazing author. There are actually 3 books in this series. So it will be The Women of Brewster's Place is the first. Then you have Linden Hills. Linden Hills is a place that is real well established. It's like a suburb. If you live in Linden Hills, you have money. And then the last book is The Men of Brewster's Place, where it gives the men's perspective of living in Brewster's Place. And Brewster's Place is a housing project. So, I mean, I would encourage you to read the book because it's fantastic and it's not long at all. This book is not even 200 pages. But if you don't feel like reading the book, at least watch the miniseries, because the miniseries is exactly like the book. I mean, Oprah did that. So yeah, watch the miniseries if you haven't, and you won't regret it because it's so good. Okay, next is Jamaica Kincaid, Annie John. Now this book came out in 1986. This basically is a coming of age story. It's about a girl that lives in is it Antigua? And she's obviously Caribbean, and you just see how she navigates her life. It deals with like a mother-daughter relationship, deals with sexuality, really just a girl coming in her own. It's a coming of age story. This is another one that I really did enjoy it. It has some difficult parts, but it's necessary. Also, it is very short. This book is only 145 pages, so you can really get it done in one sitting. Although it is small, it packs a punch. Jamaican Kincaid is just an amazing writer. She's still alive. And usually Caribbean writers, they know how to tell a story. It's like Caribbean and Africans, they can tell a story. So I know that I'm in good hands when I have a Jamaican Kincaid book, because again, she knows how to tell a well-rounded story. Next is one of my favorites, Mama by Terry McMillan. I've talked about this book so many times. This actually is Terry McMillan's first book, and that was published in, Mama's published in 1987. This book, it's like Annie John, which is a coming of age story. You have it's kind of semi-autobiographical to Terry McMillan's life. This deals with a woman named Mildred. She's the mother, and Mildred has, oh Lord, she goes through, man, she's trying to have like a father figure for her children, but it just don't work out. And also too, she's real poor, money is always an issue, but she finds a way to always get things. Those kids are never hungry. They have, clothes on their back. It's just the way that she has to do it is difficult. It's always something, but she finds out how to do it. But the dialogue in this, fantastic. I said many times that Terry McMillan dialogue is like no other. She knows how to write. That's all I can say. I mean, it's Terry McMillan. But guys, please check this out. This is so funny. I can remember reading this and I was just cracking up, because some of these things that she does and says, it's like, oh my goodness, especially Mildred, and then her daughter Frida, who is the oldest one, because there's 2 girls and a boy, and she has to take a lot of the role for Mildred, being the oldest. But again, that dialogue, hilarious. You guys have to read this. Next is, okay, hopefully I can say this. Okay, it's Intashaki. Is it Strange? Sassafras, Cypress, and Indigo. I always get her name wrong. So this actually was published in 1982. I recently read this. It's about 3 women, 3 sisters, and their mother. It's another like a family saga. You see how each woman lives her life. You have Sassafras she's the oldest, and she's a poet. And she's also a weaver like her mother. She sews and makes things. Then you have Sassafras, who is a dancer, and she's real. You don't mess with Cypress. She gets you together. She's also really in touch with her sexuality. And then you have Indigo, who is basically the baby of the family. And she plays with these dolls, and you just basically see how her interaction with her sisters, with her mother. I personally like Sassafras. I just wish that Intashaki could have done a little bit more with that character, meaning like I just needed more, because she really kind of focused on Cypress, and Cypress kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I wanted to know more about Sassafras, especially her relationship, because she had a man that was real trifling, and the stuff he did and said was like, come on. But this author, she's so unique. She actually, you can't put her in a box, because with her work, she infuses poetry, she infuses recipes, she does like short stories. I mean, she does everything in one book. She's different in her writing. This author was just brilliant. She's known for Color Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough, and also there was a movie in 2010 that Tyler Perry did, and I really enjoyed it. Fun fact, the author did not. She didn't like his take on it. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, check this out if you guys haven't. Next is The Salt Eaters by Toni Kincaid Barbara. No, I haven't read this. This actually is on my TBR to read. This came out in 1980. I know it's about a town in the South called the Salt Eaters, and it's a town full of Black people. It's a Black community, and they balance. It says their men, their children, and so basically just like, you know, a story about community and camaraderie, basically. So I'm really excited to read this. I haven't read any of her works, and I actually have another book by her, Gorilla Love, I just bought. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. Next is Fences. Now this came out, this is a play by August Wilson. This came out in 1985. This, oh Lord, Troy just got on my nerves. Troy is a man he's real, what should I say? He's real gruff and rough. And, you know, it's a man that he doesn't have money and he has to work, and you know, basically the work that he's doing, it doesn't provide money. Not enough to really just live on. So he has a brother that has some mental challenges, and he takes care of him, but takes his money. Then you have his wife, who is a homemaker. She, you know, tries to understand and be with Troy, but Troy just messes up. He's just so angry at everything. And then you have his son, who is really sensitive and doesn't want to be like his dad. And he just takes everything out on that boy. It's like he just doesn't like him at all. And I think the reason why he doesn't like him, because he knows that his son is better than him. He has so many qualities. He's smart, and he's just more of a man. I think that's one reason why he just can't stand him. If you really look, you know, in the context clues, you will see that. I really did enjoy this. I love August Wilson. His plays are like no other. I like his work is because the way he writes women, he never disrespects women. He doesn't. And I love that about him. If you have read a lot of his plays, you will see that. His women, the way he writes women, I can appreciate that, because sometimes, you know, it's hard when a man writes a woman character, especially Black. But he's another one that I can take. He does it really well. Next is also, it's another play. It's George C. Wolfe, The Colored Museum. This was in 1986. So they're like short stories, but they're called exhibits. And basically it just, they're like stereotypes of Black people. This deals with homosexuality. It deals with, what else? Dating. It deals with stereotypes. Everything that is Black, this play has it. There actually is a production on YouTube. I'll link it down below, and you can watch the whole thing. And actually, there's like spot on, because like I said, it's like short stories, so you literally can watch the play and read along with it, because they use every single line. My favorite is Hairpiece, and it actually has the actress Loretta Devine in it, and it's just hilarious. So I really did enjoy this. It's a short read. I'm trying to get into plays, and this was one of them that I got into. George C. Wolfe, he's a GOAT. He's known for actually his recent works was Ma Rainey, the movie that was on Netflix. He directed that. So when it comes to, you know, Broadway and directing, he really is that man. Next is Maya Angelou's The Heart of a Woman. This was published in 1981. This is the fourth book out of the whole like series. You know, obviously you guys know this is an autobiographical novel, and this one, it focuses on her time when she goes to Ghana. Also her raising her teenage son Guy. I really like this one. And this one also talks about her works with Martin Luther King. And I mean, it's Maya Angelou. So I think a lot of people, when they think of, you know, her works, they automatically go to I Know the Cage Bird Sings, which I can understand because that's fantastic. But this one and Gather Together My Name are my favorite. So yeah, you guys, if you haven't read this, please pick it up, because it's so good. Yeah. Next is, I have to include J. California Cooper. This is a piece of mine. This came out in 1984. These are a collection of short stories. Her short stories, they deal with just, oh Lord, Black life. It deals with, you know, love and heartache, and she writes like a Southern writer, even though she's not from the South. She actually was published by Alice Walker. And the way Alice Walker describes her work, she says it in the strong folk flavor. Cooper works and reminds us of Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston, and it honestly does. You know, with Zora Neale Hurston, those well, how can you how can you describe Zora Neale Hurston's work? Again, it's that folks tale. It's that storytelling with a moral, but also it's clever and witty. She has that same thing like Zora Neale Hurston. You will learn something, but you will also be you will learn something, but it's still funny. It's witty. And another thing too with her short stories, you're satisfied. You almost get closure. And a lot of times that was always my big issue with short stories. I'm like, oh, I don't have any closure, but it's like, girl, it's a short story. With her, for some reason, it reads like a short story, but you still get what you want, what you need. And I love J. California Cooper. I can go on and on. So yeah, this one, please pick up. And my last book is Alex Haley, A Different Kind of Christmas. This was published in 1988. This one, I love this edition. I got this for cheap. Like, it's so pretty. So this is about a Black slave who gets in cahoots with a white Southerner, and they come to this agreement to basically work together, and you just see how it's, you know, you see how it's going to navigate. I kind of liked it, you know, but it wasn't my favorite, but I still liked it. I actually read it during Christmas time. I mean, it's Alex Haley, so it's yeah, but it's not my favorite, you know, out of his works. I personally like Queen, but this still was a really good story. It's really short and sweet, so yeah. So guys, that's all I have when it comes to these books in the 80s. Like I said, it was kind of difficult because there wasn't just a lot. I mean, there's more, obviously, of writers from the 80s that were Black. But like I said, it was just a lot of the people that they kept on mentioning, they were white. And I had a hard time trying to find males, especially from the 80s. So I could find some from the 90s and obviously 2000s and on, but from the 80s, it was kind of lackluster. I also did, if you look on Goodreads and they have like best books of 1980s, everyone was white or they were non-Black. And the two people that they kept on mentioning was Alice Walker and Toni Morrison. So yeah, girl. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.